Welcome back to Rip City Rundown. It's Thursday. The Blazers preseason has officially wrapped up, and we are looking forward to the season opener next week against the Clippers. The Blazers go 1-3 in the preseason. I'm not sure what I expected, but this video will be about my impressions, a review of the preseason, and what we can expect going forward for this season. We did not do a podcast this week. Unfortunately, we were very busy, so this video will kind of act as a super efficient, super short and sweet podcast where I basically give my thoughts on the preseason as a whole. So let's dive into it right now. The Blazers go 1-3. Okay. We didn't beat an NBA team. We beat the Breakers by 40. I'm looking at it, 106-66. But we lose to Phoenix twice and Utah. The initial impression for me after watching preseason is the Vegas line of 28.5 wins is correct. Okay, for the people out there that are saying the Blazers are going to be a playoff/play-in team hovering around the 40-win mark, I just don't see it, guys. This team is unbelievably young. They're unbelievably raw, and there's not a lot of continuity between these guys. Scoot, all the talent in the world. Shaedon could pop at any point. Simons is a star in the making. Jeremy Grant is a seasoned veteran. Ayton and Robert Williams have great things about them. And even Malcolm Brogdon has playoff experience. Like, there's talent on this roster, but the lack of continuity and just the youth on this team is going to be a huge factor going forward. So let's start off with this. Temper expectations, guys. Temper expectations. We're going to lose a lot of games. There's going to be... Here's what I'll tell you from a basketball on the floor perspective. This team is going to be in a lot of games due to its talent. I guarantee you the Blazers will... I'm not going to give you 80% of game, but a large portion of games, the Blazers are going to be maybe in the lead at the half or maybe tied after 3. But these veteran teams in the NBA are going to expose these young players in Portland sooner rather than later. Throughout the preseason, I saw a lot of turnovers. Okay, I saw a lot of ill-advised passes. Scoot averaged almost 6 assists, which is fantastic. But to win basketball games, it takes more than having a great play and then a really sloppy turnover. And that's what we're going to see from Portland this year. Scoot's going to have an incredible transition pass, bounce pass ahead to Shaedon and throw it down. And we're going to be like, oh my gosh, this team's going to win 45 games. Then, next play, Scoot's going to throw a lazy cross-court pass. It's going to be picked off by Lauri Markkanen of the Utah Jazz, and he's going to go down and dunk it, and it's going to be timeout Blazers down 14. That's going to be more realistic this year. And I'm going to stress to people, and I've been telling this to Cole and Cody as well. This year is about growth. This year is about seeing different things from in October and January. Seeing Scoot not make that lazy pass that he might make early in November, and seeing Scoot make a great read out of a pick and roll in January and firing to Monty Kamara, who we'll get to in a second, in the corner for a 3. I mean, if you look at these games, Phoenix 122-111, Jazz 138-133, Phoenix 117-106. It was sloppy. I watched the first Phoenix game. Jusuf Nurkic, he looked really good. He looked better than he should have been. Again, this team is super duper young. I mean, here are two main trends or things that are going to be noticeable this year that reared its ugly head in the preseason. We'll say ugly head. Sloppiness and turnovers. The Blazers are going to lose a lot of games. And the second thing is the defense. The second thing is the defense. When you have a young team and no continuity, there are going to be so many gaps, so many miscommunications on the defensive end of the ball, and it's going to be something that us Blazer fans are going to have to be accustomed to and not necessarily get mad at the Blazers for, because this is going to be something that they are going to have to learn, okay? There's a difference if the Blazers are bad defensively this year as opposed to, say, 3 years ago. When you have Dame, CJ, Norm, Rocco, Nurk, I get they're not all A-plus defenders, but when you have veterans like that, you expect a little bit more than 29th in the league in defensive rating. Now you have I think the youngest team in the league. So defensively, it's going to be a struggle. Giving up 138 to Houston. I'm sorry, not Houston, 138 to Utah. That is not surprising to me. So youth leads to sloppiness and a lack of continuity, which you need on the defensive end. So the Blazers are going to be giving up a lot of points. They will be fun, and this is where I want to get into the positive things that I saw from preseason. Toumani Camara, I'm not going to get ahead of myself, but he looks like a guy that is going to get a lot of playing time this year, whether that's initially or kind of in that second half of the season, what are we playing for type role, for the lack of a better word. He had some incredible plays, especially in the Utah game. I watched that second half closely. He's got a smooth-looking jumper. He's athletic. He's not afraid to get to the rim. I mean, I saw Scoot and Toumani both try to throw down haymakers over Jazz defenders. I forgot who it was. It might have been Kessler. That's what you want to see from your young guys. I'm telling you, the Blazers will be fun. And Toumani Camara, if he develops correctly, I know he's on the older side for a prospect. Okay, he's not this one-and-done blue chipper, but he's got game, he's got talent. I think he could become a rotation level player for a Blazer team that has loftier goals in the future. I really do. And that's going to be the beauty of this season, guys. That's the beauty of this season, is seeing guys like Toumani Camara, maybe even Kevin Knox, it doesn't matter who, but seeing players like that grow throughout the course of the year is what I am looking forward to seeing. And Toumani Camara proved to me in the preseason that he has the juice. He's got the athleticism. The shot is there. Now, again, if he comes out firing like Nick Stauskas did in 2018, I'm not going to proclaim that Toumani Camara is the next great shooter in Portland, because teams will adjust, teams will run him off the line, and then he'll have to develop a different part of his game, which is what you want, but it's going to lead to some ugly basketball. Let's just be frank. But I am encouraged by what I'm seeing from him in these 3 games. And I think that is going to be indicative of the season as a whole. Toumani Camara, in a nutshell, is what we should be looking for from Blazer players. You're going to see Scoot go on a 5-game run. That's, he's going to average 20 and 7 in a 5-game stretch. And we're going to go like 2 and 3. And we're going to be like, man, we could have gone 4 and 1 that stretch. Scoot he's playing high-level basketball. But then you're also going to have a 5-game stretch where Scoot shoots 20% from 3 and 38% from the floor and turns the ball over more than he has assists. And he might, get his playing time cut a bit because that's just rookie pains, rookie mistakes. I want people to realize that we are going to be judging this team based on the growth. And what that means is come December, I don't care if we're 5 and 20 or if we're 20 and 5. Forget the wins. Don't judge Scoot on if he made a 3 in transition or didn't. Judge Scoot on if shooting the 3 versus not shooting 3 in transition was the right decision. Because that's more of a reason, and that's more likely to be a success for Scoot than him just coming out of the gate and scoring 24 a game. So I want people to know that personally, I'm going to go on record, I don't think this team's going to be good at all. I mean, the preseason I can't say that word. It was poor. The preseason was poor. Good moments, but poor overall. And that's going to be this team. Moments where, like, in small, isolated moments, the Blazers are going to show that juice and show, like, hey, this team, and down the line when it comes together, could be for real. But it's going to be way more of the sloppiness and the turnovers. But that's kind of the beauty of liking a bad team. I said this on our podcast a couple weeks ago. Having Dame, as great as it is, there's pressure to win because you're trying to bring him a championship, which is great. That's what we want. I really wanted Damon to win a title in Portland, and I'm so bummed it didn't happen. It could, by the way, in the future. You never know. But I just remember watching, not meaningless, but kind of just games in the middle of January where we're scuffling at the 6th seed and we're trying to get home court, but we're like on the road in Cleveland. And I'm hanging on to every bucket in the second quarter. Chetty Osman hits a 3, and I'm like, the world is going to end. Now there's kind of a pressure or a release as a fan to where opening night in Los Angeles against the Clippers, I don't care if we win by 10 or lose by 40, quite frankly. I just want to see the rookies show that they belong out there and have good moments. And I want to see this team kind of start to form an identity, whether that's like a run and gun style, whether, it's one that relies on athleticism and making, the flashy play and kind of going like what the Kings would do, where they just go fast and, they're going to make mistakes, but they just keep coming at you in waves. Again, like I don't care about the wins. And I think that's why I kind of enjoyed this preseason. I was watching the Utah game like, well, if we lose, that's tough, but I'm not going to be too upset because I saw things from Toumani Camara that game that gave me optimism for the future. Like, I'm not going to get hung up on a loss, and I don't think the Blazer fan base should. Yes, we should hold the team accountable. I'm not trying to break the record for losses. I'd like to win more than 10 games this year, and I think we will. I think we'll win somewhere between 25 and 30. I think under 28.5, but somewhere in that ballpark. So yes, we need to hold them accountable, but we can't just focus on wins and losses because that's not where the growth is going to come from. Scoot could have a terrible game and set back his progression theoretically, and we still win. But I'd rather Scoot progress than win because for our plan and our future, it really doesn't make much sense to be really good this year. That's what we did in 2015, right after Aldridge left. We were supposed to not be great. What happened? We make the playoffs, and then we give mega contracts to mid players like Evan Turner, Allen Crabbe. I'm not saying Joe's going to do that, but I'm just saying, like, there's a formula for a team that is rebuilding, and the Blazers are ahead on this rebuilding curve. We have the talent in the house. We have the talent in Portland. It's just about continuity now and Scoot getting reps. Chris Murray getting reps. Almost said his brother. It's about reps and continuity. Defense is going to be bad. It'll come though. It'll come. The continuity will come too. That's what being a young team is. You grow together. I don't think it'll come together this year, and that's okay. It should be about the growth, not the wins and losses. That's the main takeaway from the preseason. Cole and I are going to do a podcast probably Saturday. So maybe Sunday. So tune into that. Thank you guys for listening. Remember, just a little perspective shift, okay? I almost said about the wins. It's not about the wins. It's about the progression and the process. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.